In this video, I'm gonna show you how to make 3 different versions of breakfast that all cost less than $1.50 a piece. Hey guys, I'm Mike, and the cheapest breakfast I can think of off the top of my head is probably going to be oatmeal. I mean, you can buy a giant tub of it for less than $5, and then each bowl of oatmeal should cost you around 15 cents to make. The downside to oatmeal, however, is it usually tastes pretty bland when you eat it just by itself. So my goal today is to take this oatmeal to the next level, and we're gonna do that by learning how to make this magical breakfast called overnight oats. Overnight oats is exactly what it sounds like. You're taking oats along with other ingredients and letting them sit overnight in your refrigerator. The idea is, over time, the oats will absorb the liquid in the container and will eventually be soft enough to eat. The main difference between regular oatmeal and overnight oats is there is no boiling water involved. All you have to do is mix the ingredients, let them sit overnight, and then bam, you have a nice healthy breakfast that's ready to be eaten the next morning. Now, I've never actually made overnight oats before, so I'm not really sure how this is going to turn out. But here's a list of all the recipes that I found online. I'm going to be choosing 3 of these recipes to make today, starting with blueberry. Alright, to make blueberry overnight oats, you're going to need rolled oats, salt, chia seeds, almond milk, plain Greek yogurt, blueberries, maple syrup, and almonds. If you have a food allergy or anything like that, then feel free to substitute any of these ingredients. You could always use steel-cut oats instead of rolled oats, flax seeds instead of chia seeds, dairy milk instead of almond milk. You guys get the idea. But anyways, back to the recipe. You're going to need half a cup of rolled oats, half a cup of blueberries, half a cup of almond milk, quarter cup of plain Greek yogurt, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 1 to 2 teaspoons of maple syrup, and then top it all off with a pinch of salt. After you have all the ingredients in a bowl, just give it a good mix and it should look something like this. The next step is to just transfer everything to a container and then let it sit overnight in your fridge. Alright, it's the next morning. Let's see how this recipe turned out. Alright, for a garnish, I used frozen blueberries along with crushed up almonds. Let's see how this one turned out. Definitely is something different, but tastes pretty good. Alright, so the blueberry overnight oats turned out pretty well. Let's now take a look at the second recipe, which is going to be peanut butter and jelly. But first, financial fact. The next time you're at a restaurant with your friends, an easy way to figure out the tip without using a calculator is to take the total amount, move the decimal place over 1, and then multiply that number by 2, and that's how you leave a 20% tip. Now back to the video. Alright, to make peanut butter and jelly overnight oats, you're going to need the main ingredients from before, along with peanut butter, jam, and peanuts. Alright, to get started, you'll need a half cup of rolled oats, half cup of almond milk, quarter cup of plain Greek yogurt, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, and then 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and then 2 tablespoons of jam. The last step is to top it off with a pinch of salt, and then give it a good stir so all the ingredients are mixed well. After everything is mixed, it should look something like this. The next step is to transfer everything to a container and then let it sit overnight in your fridge. Alright, it's the next morning and I'm excited to see how this recipe turned out. I pretty much grew up on eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all throughout my childhood, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this recipe. Alright, for a garnish, I used a spoonful of peanut butter along with crushed up peanuts. Let's see how this one turned out. Yeah, it literally just tastes like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but in a yogurt type form. Alright, so the peanut butter and jelly overnight oats turned out to be pretty good. So far, we've knocked out 2 of our recipes and still have one final one to go. And that third and final recipe is going to be banana bread. But first, financial fact, if you put $3,000 into the stock market and wanted to figure out approximately how long it takes for that money to double, then a quick way to figure this out in your head is to take 72 and divide it by your rate of return. So in this case, it should take approximately 7.2 years for your $3,000 to turn into $6,000. Now, back to the video. Alright, to make banana bread overnight oats, you're going to need the main ingredients from before, along with a banana, walnuts, vanilla extract, and cinnamon. Already, we can see that this recipe is a little more complicated than the previous recipes. To get started, you'll need a half cup of rolled oats, half a cup of almond milk, half of a mushed banana, quarter cup of plain Greek yogurt, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 1 tablespoon of crushed walnuts, a half teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half teaspoon of vanilla extract. Once you have all the ingredients in a bowl, top it off with a pinch of salt, give it a good mix, and then it should look something like this. And then same as before, we're going to transfer it to a different container and then throw it in the fridge to let it sit overnight. Alright, it's the next morning and I'm going to be trying out the third and final recipe, which is banana bread overnight oats. I'm really hoping it tastes just like regular banana bread. Alright, for this recipe, I used a sliced up banana as a garnish. Let's see how this one turned out. Yeah, really good recipe. Tastes exactly like banana bread. I would say out of the 3, probably peanut butter and jelly is my favorite. Alright, a while ago, I made a video pretty similar to this one, except instead of talking about breakfast food, I talked about lunch food, specifically chili. Here's how chili performed overall, and now let's see how the overnight oats performed in comparison. For the expensive category, I gave overnight oats an 8. The ingredients are comprised of dairy and fruit, which are a little more expensive than the canned food products needed to make chili. For the nutrition category, overnight oats scores a 9. There's lots of fiber, protein, and healthy fats in this breakfast meal. Plus, there's chia seeds. I mean, you can't get much healthier than that. For the shelf life category, overnight oats scores a 7. Usually these meals will last 3 to 5 days. It just depends on what ingredients are in them. Bananas, for instance, tend to spoil a lot sooner than blueberries. For the mobility category, overnight oats ties with chili with a score of 4. Although these breakfast meals are easy to move around, there is a lot of prep that goes into making them. Plus, they have to be refrigerated. And finally, for the last category, overnight oats receives a score of 8, mainly because there are lots of variations of the recipe that you can make. That means overall, chili receives a score of 7.3, and then overnight oats receives a score of 7.2, making chili the winner. If you want to see the video where I make chili, then click right here. Stay frugal, fam!